Hey guys,
Time to have some fun today, yeah?
sound good to you guys? Certainly hope so. I want to have some fun. Whatever that shit is, right? Have ourselves a good old time. Hey, hi, whoever just jumped on. What is up? Hmm. So today, for those that are watching this later and not during the live stream, I kind of want to look up like kind of abandoned web pages and things we can find on the Wayback Machine. And then if we have time, we can look at some Zoid Reddit, fuck around on there, talk about whatever. Um, I have a few in mind. For me, one that I want to look up is melodramatic.com. Websites that are now gone, that don't quite exist anymore in any real way. Hey, E-Man, what's up? Who else got on? I see two more people jumped on. And I thought it'd be interesting to, just look at and discuss the idea of digital landscapes and how things can just disappear into the ether. And how there's ways you can bring some of this stuff back, not completely, using things like the Wayback Machine, internet archiving. What's up, OR? How's it going, man? So I just thought it'd be fun to maybe take suggestions and then investigate a little further myself. One site in particular that I was interested in looking up was melodramatic.com, which for those that are younger might not remember. It was like early 2000s website where you can, if anybody's familiar with LiveJournal way back, but it was like LiveJournal, but for even more edgy boys and girls, and all the emo kids mostly hung out there, and all the goth kids and all that kind of shit. I'm not implying that Zoids or anything are generally go in that direction, but I'm sure a lot of Zoids had interesting teenager experiences that were into some more spooky shit, probably because of the isolation. It tends to breed a certain kind of character sometimes that's into less traditional interests. Um, and I just thought it'd be fun to sort of kind of look at some of this stuff because the website itself was, yeah, it was like LiveJournal. It was a blog spot, right? Where people would just post whatever they wanted. You would make a profile, and then you would just post, pictures of yourself. It was kind of like kind of what Tumblr or other places like that kind of do now. But it predated all that, and pretty much, it was like the precursor to a social media sort of site because you could message each other and such. Um, for all the kind of oddballs and scene kids and all that kind of stuff at your local high school or community college. So I just thought it'd be interesting to look at some of that stuff today. How's it going, whoever just jumped on? I only know 2 names. I wish it would just show me who's on, but it doesn't like to. It does not like to. 5th person that just jumped on. So I just thought it'd be cool to look at some of this stuff. So the Wayback, if you're not familiar with it, it can, depending on who decided to capture images or pages themselves during a specific time period, they can capture stuff, and then you can actually look at things that were on that URL such a long time ago. And like, for example, if I want to look at what was in 2006, click there. And there's some that have multiple snapshots. Those are usually the better ones. They'll have more options to look at and such right here. For example, this one. So this was taken February 20th, 2006. And just click on there, and then we can see what was on the interwebs on melodramatic.com that was archived in 2006. There it is. Fascinating. Don't mind me just lurking. What's up, Bonecone? Hey, dude, you lurk all you want. Hey, Nun. What's up? Good to see you, man. So, yeah, I felt like just looking at old websites and abandoned digital spaces that are gone from the normal internet, I guess, forever, but still archived on the Wayback Machine. It's kind of like what they always say, the internet is forever. Well, it might be now, in some respects, because it's easier. There's more archiving going on. But during the early 2000s, it was only forever if it managed to get on the Wayback Machine. And it's unlikely that there's a lot left to look up. But what's cool is you can see what was specifically placed there, or the home pages of specific websites during certain time periods. And it's kind of interesting to me because it serves as a historical record, which is cool. I know there's probably some controversy regarding the Wayback Machine. I'm not sure. I heard about some kind of issues with censorship or something. But one second, I need to sneeze. Well, that was unexpected. A little itch in my throat. Uh-oh. But, yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to look at some of this shit. So let's see here. Melodramatic.com on February 20th, 2006. And what's cool is that sometimes the links work, too. Let's see. The homepage had, if zombies were coming soon to a city near you, would you? And then, of course, we'd have a poll usually on the homepage that was popular. Top click memberships would be basically little groups that people would create. Remember Suicide Girls? Are they still around? I don't know. It's like I'm not gonna click on it because that'll get my stream taken down. But it's like pornography, I believe, or just nudes and stuff at the time. I don't know if it's entered the realm of full-time pornography now. I think it has, but it used to just be nudes and things like that. You can look at people's posts of specific people, recent updates by popular users, and so on and so forth. So, like, I don't know if this will work, but let's see if I click on that. It probably won't bring up whoever Ultraviolet. Oh, let's see. There you go. So, there's still blog posts on here that are recorded from years ago. Talking like 15 years plus in some cases. And you can actually read what was being said and discussed back then by, I guess, the trending individuals of this website. Get off the cross, use the wood to build a bridge, and get over it. By Mike. With a sarcastic disposition and a cuntless sex. And, he has all his things, his articles. I don't know how much of everything on here is available. But it's just fascinating to me that you can, yeah, look at that. Boom. There's just a record. So many snapshots and records of entire websites during a specific time. I want to look at this person right here, Sarah Hartu, February 19th, 2006 as well. I can go ahead and look at that, which is cool. There we go. See, and then they would let you customize your space with colors and what have you. See, a lot of these links are all broken because obviously 2006, but the texts left behind are there. And there's essentially a record of this person's life during this time that they might not even be aware is still on the internet. Some of these people might have, grown up, gotten married, moved on with their life, forgot about this blog, or died, or otherwise. And if you're ever bored, I mean, you could still go on here and check out what was, even the comments that were left behind, 2006, on a website that no longer exists. To me, there's something really fascinating about that. I'm not sure what it is. I can't quite explain why I find it so interesting. What do you guys think? Is it weird, like, that I find this interesting, or is it interesting that you can see some like abandoned websites, blog posts, like just seeing information that was like thrown out into the ether and now just gone, just disappeared. Somebody's thoughts, somebody's lashing out, and so on and so forth. Just into an ocean of nothingness, right? But still somehow salvageable, some pieces of it. It's like internet archaeology. OR400 is interesting. I got the net at home in 2001. I think it was like early 2000s when I got internet too as well. When I started, like, we had a computer that would, and because I started with a fucking 56K action, man, so we're talking doo boop and all that shit. And it would take like an hour just to have a full page. I can upload it, download it. You'd have to like wait 20 minutes to get one porno picture to beat off to, which is hilarious. When you were bored enough, you just sit there and wait and watch as the titties would render themselves over the course of 20 minutes. The trick was to not look at it while it was rendering. You would wait, you would go do something else, and then come back and it was done. And then you get this full, cool picture that you can fucking fap to at that point. Back then. Back if we're talking like 2000. So, let's see what this page in particular has. Let's see here. I changed my mind. I'm the luckiest woman alive. 2005. Created. He's absolutely committed to you. Your guy's committed to you as if you were already married. Blah, blah, blah. Also, remember when these were popular? I don't know if people still do them. Used to be all these stupid quizzes. People still upload that kind of shit, right? Where they take these dumb quizzes and then just upload the results and stuff. God, this shit was dumb. I'm guessing this girl was popular because she had poetry. Yeah, and they had this thing called touching on here that you can go on someone's page and you can touch the page, and that's like you acknowledging that you looked at their page or their blog post or whatever. Here are her nuanced views on Catholicism. Having a case of the Mondays. I hate Mondays. All the weekend glory comes crashing down into a black abyss of hateful nothingness. I had the most classes today. I have to deal with nursing students. I have to get up early after a weekend of sleeping in, and I just become an object of pessimism, which is nothing like me. I have 3 hour anatomy and physiology lab today where we're studying the urinary tract, and that means we get to piss in a cup for a lab experiment. Goody, I'm jumping for joy. I did not go to anatomy and physiology or psychology. I think she meant physiology or psychology. I don't know. I hate that class too. Blah blah blah. How different my life could be. 2005. My ex-boyfriend just admitted that he likes me a lot. He told me that he hates himself because he lost his chance with me. Ugh. Blah blah blah. You get it. Look, we still got meme. We still got the weebs of 2005. It's so fascinating to me that like all this is recorded, and here are the comments. That is an awesome story. So many NyQuil stories. Catholicism. Jokes. Blah blah blah. Crazy, man. Crazy. OR 400. Never used to go on chat rooms. Just used to spend hours scrolling through porn. Yeah, I remember my I don't know, especially if you were a guy, you had all these like funny porn stories if you grew up in via internet. If you were like a teenager in the early 2000s. Yeah, man. That shit was funny as hell. Hey, what's up, Karma?
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
It's hot as fuck outside and I'm sweating my ass off.
That's you got that dope ass. You got some swamp ass action going on. That's super cool.
Maybe, who knows?
I good to see you, man. Right now, I was looking at the Wayback Machine. You ever fuck around with that thing?
I don't know what that is.
The Wayback Machine is like a place where you can look at archived internet pages and like websites from years past. And what's cool about it is you can find archived pages of websites that no longer exist.
That's great.
Yeah,
that sounds cool as fuck.
Yeah, so I was discussing with them this old website from like the early 2000s that was popular called melodramatic.com, where it was like a live journal type thing where it would just be a bunch of emo kids usually and like punk kids, scene kids and shit like that.
So when you was a kid, you was on there then, right?
Yeah, that was what I used. When I was a teenager, I used Melodramatic to blog post stuff. And like I honestly do not even remember. One time, I think like 10 years ago, when the website, I think was, oh no, like 12, 13 years ago, maybe longer, when the website was still somewhat functional, I looked up my old account and that shit was cringe as fuck. I can't even...
The furthest thing I go back to is like MySpace.
Yeah, see, this predates that for me. Like, I didn't... This was... Melodramatic was like the MySpace for all the emo scene kids and the metalheads and shit.
Yeah, but even then, I didn't really use MySpace because I was born in 2000, so...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're too young. You're too young. I'm an old man, so I've been around for a while.
I mean, you don't look like you're past your 20, like your late 20s for real.
Oh, well, thank you, but I am going to be turning 37 soon, so...
Oh, my.
I am an old fucking man. It was sad. I thought I was 35, but I was actually 36. My wife told me, and I was like, oh, shit. Okay, well, must have forgot a whole year of my life at some point, which makes sense.
2020 passed so fast for me. Because it's not like my life really changed that much.
Oh, yeah, man. Especially when it's like that. Here, I'm going to look at some snapshots from 2007. All right, here's another front page. 2007 front page for melodramatic.com. Top stats of the last 28 days. Oh, there it is. There's the haircut. There's the haircut. Oh, see, that's not available. But there's the haircut right there. A lovely sin. See.
How many viewers do we have at the moment?
Right now, we have 10.
Ooh.
So it's not bad. Aura 400. I'm 35. Was 15 when I started to use the net. Yeah. So OR, you know what's up. Like we're only like a year and a half apart. So you know like that. I guess I wouldn't call it nostalgia because I don't really have any kind of emotional connection to the past in that sense. But I just find it
Takes you a
really
whole.
interesting. It's just interesting. Look, this girl posting whoever she was with her scene shit. So everyone would
My
post like
dad's
poetry, nothing but poetry all over the place. What were you saying?
my dad's a whole boomer. He was born in 1970.
Damn, that's that old boomer
the
action.
the the era I wish I was born in.
Oh no, thank you. A lot of
Yeah,
people
all the
say
fucking.
that, but I think he would be just as miserable, if not more so, to be honest.
I
Minus
mean,
the plus AIDS, so that would have been
oh
cool.
yeah, yeah. But the cars were so cool back then, and everybody was
Yeah.
so laid back. Like if you got caught smoking pot, they'd go tell your parents and make you go home.
I mean, you would have been a part of all kinds of cool bathhouse orgies that would have gotten you HIV. It would have been rad.
uh,
So let me see here. Yeah, I definitely want to be a gay man in the late '70s and the early '80s, before condoms became a necessary thing in people's minds.
go fuck Eddie Murphy.
Oh my god, no thanks. That guy's all teeth. Let's see here.
Yeah, but it's
Virgin.
the lead singer of fucking Queen, though.
I thought you said Eddie Murphy.
But I can't remember his name. I thought that
Freddie
was his name.
Mercury. Eddie Murphy's.
Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury, yeah.
Eddie Murphy's the black actor from the '80s that was popular. The
That's what I
comedic
thought he
actor.
was.
That's
I was
fucking
pretty sure I had the name wrong.
Eddie Murphy of Queen. That's strong, man. Eddie Murphy of Queen. Yeah, I remember when Eddie Murphy was wearing that red jacket on stage.
Oh
Uh,
god, it's a whole like
God.
110 degrees out here with like 80% humidity. My brain's not working correctly.
We're gonna come up with a new character and call him Eddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Eddie Mercury. How about it, folks? Eddie Mercury. Just a black Freddie Mercury with a huge smile and jokes in between his live sets. Just gonna do Eddie Mercury or Freddie Murphy. I don't know which one's funnier, Mercury or Freddie Murphy. I kind of like Freddie Murphy.
Freddie Murphy.
Yeah, that shit's pretty strong. Um, Let me look at some other shit here. But anyway, if you guys know of any websites that like used to be around and no longer kind of exist, tell me some in chat, and I'll see if I can look them up on here. Especially if it's something I've never heard of, it might be interesting. Like just weird websites, not even like social media ones necessarily of the time period, but just weird
Do you
fucking
know?
websites.
Do you know any onion websites?
The Onion?
Yeah, onion.
You're talking about the Onion, like the satire group, right?
No, I'm talking about like onion, like dark web shit.
Oh, Onion. You're talking about like Tor and shit? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not fucking around with that, homie. That's like I need my fucking stream taken down. No, I did my own share of looking up things I probably shouldn't have.
I
In
love it.
my youth, What's crazy
I
is
got, I
now
got.
everyone can get a Tor browser like no problem now because of I think is it Brave browser or is it? It's not DuckDuckGo. I
You
think it's
can
Brave browser. Brave browser, right?
you can go on the dark web without that if you know what you're doing.
No, I knew that, but the easiest way I think is using a I think it's Brave browser. There's a
Something like that.
browser that is pretty awesome because it doesn't track anything, kind of like DuckDuckGo, but it has Tor built in, so you can actually use it like that, and you can set it up for it to have an ISP and shit switching out, so that way you're
But
good.
Do you have any horror stories with the dark web?
No, not really. I didn't click on. I mean, I would just most of the time, you would just end up in like pages where they're selling, like a lot of drugs. Um, that's mostly what you find more commonly on some of these tour sites. That and you can find your way into what is now. I don't know if they still have the same name, but what used to be on the regular internet, which was I think Stormfront, which was the white nationalist sort of website.
Oh my.
And they used to be on the regular internet till all the ISPs started kicking them off, and then I think now they're on some dark web action. Um,
My dad's neighbor used to be in the Ku Klux Klan.
I wonder if Stormfront's actually really your dad's neighbor. Holy shit!
Yes, I grew up in that house and just right beside a KKK member.
Wow. Let me see here. Yeah, there's still plenty of archived Stormfront. Oh my.
Oh
Oh
man.
man, there's a lot of archived Stormfront from like 2004, 2006. I'm not gonna risk clicking on these because I don't want to break some TOS because the first thing that'll happen the moment you click on one of these pages is probably gonna have some couple N bombs and shit on the front page. But but that's the last thing I need. But yeah, it's definitely archived. I'm just trying to think of websites that don't exist anymore. Does anybody out there? Come on, guys. Come on. I got
I don't.
9 people watching the stream. Does anybody here know about any websites that just don't no longer exist that we can try to dig up? Like I know that what was it? Fucking wait. Does rotten.com still exist?
Does what still exist?
Rotten.com. Like, is
I
that
don't know
even
what.
a. Hold on.
I feel like I'm too
I
young.
think that's no, yeah, you're definitely too young for that. I don't think oh wait, no, I was trying to search it. No, do that. I don't want it to be something else. I don't think yeah, see the original Shock website, rotten.com, Rotten Library, rotten.com is offline. So there is no more rotten.com. Cuz there was a that was like the original Shock site. Let's see, they gotta have records of it. Oh yeah, they do for sure. Yeah, 2005, and it was usually the website that had like a bunch of early. Yeah, it was like I'm not gonna click on any of this because I'll probably get in trouble. But there used to be it was a website that basically had nothing but like snuff and like weird stuff and like gore images and all kinds of shit. It's like the original Shock site, but most of the stuff they had on here wasn't like it usually wasn't stuff that was like current or up to date. It was stuff that's like been out forever or been kind of floating around the internet or otherwise for years. And yeah, they used to sell like T-shirts, and it was just a Shock website that had like if there was like a certain individual or whatever that got like assassinated or something, and there's like news footage of their head exploded. Like they used to have stuff like that. Exhibitions, people that got hit by trains. It was like the original gore website, or crime scene photos that got leaked, shit like that. And then just all sorts of weird stuff. And I remember this was like the Shock website of the time period. They used to have T-shirts and stuff too, and they used to like sell merchandise, all kinds of things. Yeah, they would have like different movies. Remember bum fights? Yeah, Shock strangers look great without pants. Order your T-shirt today. Yeah, and they used to have like stickers and magnets and mouse pads. They would sell DVDs, all kinds of shit. And most of it was just full of like just awful shit. Like that's all it was, and that was the original like internet awful shit website. that I'm definitely not clicking on any of this because I don't know what it'll lead to, and I'm streaming. But yeah, like gunshot wounds, all kinds of crazy shit.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible shit. But this is nothing. This website had mostly like archived images that are like old or from years before. Um, it was nothing, man. Like what this sort of stuff turned into later on, honestly, was pretty goddamn terrible. In my opinion. It like stuff like rotten.com became websites like bestgore.com and shit like that, which is gone as well. That was removed from the regular internet like I think like a year ago, year and a half. Bestgore.com was like fucking horrific. That one had like up to date shit. Like whatever got leaked up to date that was like just disturbingly violent, that would be, it would be right on there. It'd be like the first page it would get uploaded to. And yeah, that one I was it was a little too high def. And things like that. And I remember that the website itself was what's the word? It got in trouble a few times, and I think the reason it got taken down is because there was imagery that was uploaded. Maybe someone else knows the story, but it's something about imagery that got uploaded that was associated to an ongoing crime investigation. So like so there was like something that got uploaded by either the perpetrator or a suspect or some shit. It's crazy.
Oh my.
So yeah, they got, because like it was somebody that like uploaded or submitted something, and then the guy uploaded it to the site, but it was something that was still ongoing, or it was somebody that had just done the action and wasn't caught yet, or something like that. Something crazy, something wild like that. Hey Cynthia, what's up? Holy shit, I haven't seen you in a bit.
One sec. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, Cynth.
Okay, my mic was muted because I'm dumb.
No, you're good. I'm dumb too. So, but no, I was just talking about like abandoned websites and things like that. Any idea why LiveLeak got dissolved? Probably for the same reasons. Yeah, because probably for the same reasons or similar reasons. Because the problem is when you run a website like a shock website. Because I was talking about shock websites, and when I was a teenager, like the popular one was rotten.com.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of that one, Synth.
No, I don't really seek that sort of thing out.
No, yeah, no, yeah, I don't blame you. But when I was a teenager, I didn't give a fuck. So, I was like looking at this shit, and the issue too, the reason I also kind of want to bring it up, now that I think about it, is for me and probably a lot of Zoids out there that if you were younger, you probably did go on something like bestgore.com, which is, again, that one's gone too, or some kind of equivalent to a shock website. Or maybe you did.
My equivalent was like just like reading about the Holocaust and shit, and like gulags and shit.
Yeah, whatever you can handle, whatever you can stomach in one way or another. I feel like a lot of us, or LiveLeak is a good example. LiveLeak was a popular website to people would look up like news footage of like terrorist attacks and shit like that.
Nowadays, I have more of like a stomach for pictures and shit, and there's some fucked up shit on Kiwi Farms.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of fucked up shit on a lot of websites. But my point is I feel like a lot of the times schizoids would look this stuff up, would dig into it, mostly because they wanted to be shocked or they wanted to feel stuff, or be affected by it in some regard. And I mean that's part of why I did it. Like I would go on rotten.com back in the early 2000s, and I was a teenager, and I was just like, I want to see shit that'll make me like gross me out or shock me. And then when I would see some of this stuff, it wouldn't, or would barely, and then like it would make me feel like a psychopath sometimes. And I guess it was like an attempt to like feel stuff. and that's why you would kind of do it maybe on a subconscious level. I don't know.
I don't know. I just had like an insatiable curiosity for like the horrors of the world,
Same.
and, and like now sometimes like seeing people that are really, because on Kiwi farms it's usually about people that are doing things to themselves that are like fucked up, and so it does kind of make me feel better about myself, like, wow, I got some issues but they're nowhere even
Terrible.
close.
Terrible, Cynthia. That's probably not the healthiest way to feel better about yourself.
Yeah, I just like stopped caring. Like I know that, like I'm very conscious of that, but I'm like, well, like it's also weirdly inspiring. I've heard that from several people like on the farms. And also I don't advocate for a lot of like the language that they use and a lot of the things they do.
Or the
They tend to
harassment or
dox
abuse and
people.
shit. That
They
yeah.
they try not to they try to advocate for not harassing people, but they
Yeah.
are totally okay with like doxing people, which is really fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, it's not cool, man.
But it's also like weirdly inspiring.
Explain.
Like okay, I'm not that fucked up, but like I do have issues, and maybe there's like some like fucked up way I can relate to these people, and I need to like be better. Just so I don't even become comparable to them.
Build Cynthia back better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on that.
That's good. That's good. But no, yeah, it's just, and it's kind of interesting because like that is a conversation for me. Like why, these websites get taken down left and right. Like Live Leak is an example. Is even stuff like, is that one website still around? What do you call it? Fuck. They usually had the fights and the drunken fights and all kinds of shit.
But servers don't want to have them associated with the sites, is what I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's what I imagine too. But what's fucking weird is that like it. There's so many contradictions when it comes to that sort of stuff. When it comes to like ISPs, and I don't think that nets getting senile is a good thing. Norna says, but there's a lot of contradictions when it comes to that those arguments about like servers, ISPs not wanting to be associated to certain things, blah 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 blah, because they seem to not have a problem being associated to horrible shit as long as there's money involved.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it's so frustrating when people like use that as an argument to justify ISPs and other corporations letting stuff go or going after certain things because of their own standards or standards and values and stuff. But those standards and values aren't upheld when you're dealing with certain nations that provide certain services and there are certain connections. So I mean, when you have a situation like that, then it's like, ew, like you get into weird places where it's like, how am I supposed to take you seriously? Like, okay, so you took down, you're an ISP or something, or you're a group, or you're a payment service or something, and you're no longer gonna back the very terrible people at Stormfront or something, right? But at the same time, you're still gonna be accepting money from groups, individuals that are doing IRL like crimes, war crimes, and all sorts of other horrible shit. Like, and I'm just like, this is it just seems like such a joke to me, because I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to celebrate that you took down this website or thing that offended or pissed off people because of either ideological or some kind of intangible effect they might or might not have on American culture or some bullshit like that. That I have to worry about that I'm supposed to celebrate, but But
I mean, like,
I don't understand the
just
contradiction.
don't celebrate anything that like companies do. Like, there's so much greenwashing, there's so much like bullshit. It really is just you know, who like the attention that's brought,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's all it is. Like I said, is I mean, like, I know we disagree on this, but like,
Hmm.
it's capitalism, baby. You know,
Yeah,
we
I didn't say I'm a full blown. What do you call it? Everything is perfect about the current system.
yeah,
I'm not that either,
uh,
but I'm definitely not. I'm not what you is
I'm not. Yeah, you're not as like crazy as I am. Not
about
as
that stuff.
radical.
That's okay. I'm the what do they call it? What's the ongoing joke? I'm an enlightened centrist. Um,
Yeah, that's
that's the
that's what
joke.
I'd call
That's
you.
enlightened centrists. Sorry, radicals that are listening. That's what I am. And it's just kind of funny because I think most Zoids are probably grillers or centrists because they probably just don't give a shit enough to be radicals about anything.
We're like completely apolitical. I mean,
Or
I'd
completely
imagine.
yeah, grillers.
I
That's what I mean, grillers. That's
Oh,
what I
I
call
don't. Oh,
apolitical
like
people.
I
I call
just
them
want to
grillers.
grill.
I just want to grill. That's what it means. Like that's what apolitical.
Yeah.
That's like the internet meme for apolitical, is grillers. They're people that just want to grill. They want to drink their beer, watch their TV, grill, be
I
left to
can.
their own devices.
I can fucking respect that. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
I can respect everybody, but like fascists.
All right, you're so funny. Um, that's such a loaded term too, you know. But I'm not gonna get into that. Um, but no, yeah, mostly I'm just talking about like I was looking at the Wayback Machine. Have you ever fucked around with it, Cynthia?
No, not really.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's really really cool, because you can still find like all sorts of websites that are gone. Like you can find Stormfront or something pages. You can find Best Gore page. I don't know about Best Gore, probably not. I don't know. I don't know what kind of stuff but Rotten.com is still in there, even though the website's gone. Melodramatic, certain blog spots, all sorts of websites that are gone for a variety of reasons, whether economic or political or
Yeah.
moral or whatever. They're all still available to kind of they're archived and they're still available, and you can look at the past. And
Yeah,
I just
I really like that. Like, just as a concept,
yeah
like
yeah.
things on the internet should stay on the internet in some form or another.
I mean, especially stuff that was like a part of the cultural zeitgeist of a specific decade or time period,
Mhm.
regardless of how distasteful it might be perceived by the people in later decades or later times. If like, I don't know, it's just funny to me. Like,
It's a good historical tool, like,
oh yeah, for sure.
20, 30, 50 years in the future, people might be using that as like an actual historical
Yeah,
resource.
it's gonna be a manner in which you can. But what's crazy is there's been instances in which people have tried to. I can't point it out this very second, but I know I've come across some instances in which groups like the Wayback Machine have gotten pushback from people that want to eradicate certain histories of
Yeah, that's fucked up.
yeah, like they want to eradicate like the history of a certain website's existence or any archived records of what that website possessed and things like that. And there's also been instances where this one's scary. This one's hella scary, and there's been instances in which the corporations that own certain intellectual properties they were trying to like claim that these archived webs like versions were like kind of an infringement upon that or something. And so they wanted to take down, or they were attempting to do stuff to try to take down some of the stuff that was archived, because and this is where it gets interesting. It's because certain news groups and things like that that are owned by umbrella corporations and things like that would post an article that was incorrect, or post a thing that was totally wrong, or totally unethical in the way it was published. And what they often do is they would immediately change it within within a few days of people claiming that it's wrong or what you're posting is like almost defamation.
Yeah.
And so they would change it without any kind of acknowledgement that the change was made. And so oftentimes
Yeah.
they wouldn't even put a disclaimer or or an explanation of what was redacted or changed. They would just
Yeah,
assume, yeah, like,
I
oh,
think a
everyone's
good
gonna forget, you know?
I think a good example of like the right way to do it was I forget the guy's name. The guy that posted the original study, quote
Mm.
unquote, like it wasn't even a real study in my opinion, in the Lancet, that sparked the anti-vax kind of the current anti-vax movement, associating it with autism.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have it up, but they have like a big thing over it that says redacted, compared to the ACLU actually
Oh
made an
yeah,
article defending Amber Heard.
yeah,
The Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation, if anybody
yeah. It
knows
was
about that.
pretty bad
And
shit, especially once all the footage, all the leaked audio came out and everything.
it was so bad.
It was so funny too, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to think things like that are funny.
I think
They're
well no
just
I don't
sad
think like what
funny.
was happening to them or what was happening between them was funny. What I find funny was people taking like adamant positions on things without all the
Yeah,
information. That shit cracks me up. And then seeing like all the fucking egg on their face, but then them just slinking back into the darkness, like without
yeah,
acknowledging that they said some stupid shit, and then just deleting their tweets or
yeah.
whatever
I
the
mean,
things they said.
I've had to learn that from experience, to be honest. I mean, I was pretty young when I fell into that sort of mentality. I was like 15
Yeah,
to
whatever, man.
17.
I mean, look at right now. People are getting fucking taken down because they said some shit at their some retarded age of 16 or
Yeah,
17. They said some stupid shit when they were like, 17, 18 about this or that, and so on and so forth. And then they're just like, I think the current I guess political thing going on is what is it between was it that model or whatever, that
I
model,
haven't.
it's like some model that's like really woke or whatever, and then that another the other annoying person, Candace Owens. So
Uh-huh.
both of them are like are at each other because they're political enemies for obvious reasons. But the I guess the man, what's her name? If anybody knows anything about that, I'm terrible with the names because I don't give a shit about
Somebody
the
said
names.
a Gallup. Is that
No,
their
that's
name?
not it. That's not it. I
Oh,
don't give a shit about the names. That's why I like the concepts, the narratives that get built. I don't give a fuck about the people. Um,
same.
and um, and so then the model is basically somebody that's been on the internet for a while now, advocating for like what would be considered more like progressive views or woke stuff, and going after people on the internet that they consider to be bad for a variety of reasons. And then I guess somebody found some old tweets of that same girl in which she was like telling some other younger girl to KYS and all this other shit, and they dug it up and then they put it on the internet, and so now they're trying to like be like, oh well, you're full of shit because you can't complain that we're trying to cancel you because you were okay with other people getting canceled, that whole situation. And it's just so fucking disingenuous, man, because like, okay, look, like when I hear news like that, like I'll hear somebody telling me like, "Oh, that's so fucked up what they're doing to her. Candace Owens or whatever is a terrible person," and then I'll hear people going, "No, Candace Owens is only giving her a taste of her own medicine," and blah blah blah. And in my head, I just go, "Man, you guys are dumb. Like these people are fucking assholes. Like both of them."
Yeah, that doesn't justify it. Like
But they're all
people need
assholes.
to.
They're all assholes.
Yeah,
Like she's like the woke bitch is an asshole and Candace Owens is an asshole. They're both assholes. Like for a variety of reasons. Like if you look at both their histories, they're not good people, and even their present like the proclamations they make, what motivates them to make certain types of attacks, the lies they like, the lack of ethics, like everything else is just like these. It's just two terrible people going after each other, and dividing guerrillas and other people further because they don't know how to properly discern information or know propaganda from not propaganda, and it's such a bummer because like I'll have I think like in my situation it was like my wife. She was like, "Hey, look at this that happened," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's She's like, this lady saying this about this lady," and I'm like, "Yeah, but the other lady did this," and she's like, "Okay," and then this lady did this, and it's just like I'm trying to explain to her like they're both awful people, and she's like,
Yeah.
"So why is this like?" She looks at me like, "Well, then they're just awful." I'm like, "Yeah, they're awful people. Like this isn't newsworthy." Like
That's usually the case. I mean, like, even the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation, you know, like, I think that Johnny Depp definitely got the absolute worst of it. I think he
well,
was
yeah.
definitely abused.
And there's no evidence that she. I mean, based on what's available evidence-wise, she didn't seem to have anything to present compared to his side as far as actual proof of abuse.
Exactly. I don't think he was abusive. I think
I don't think
maybe
so
he
either.
just had some I guess toxicity in the way that he behaves just in general. Like,
that's everybody though, right?
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like,
and it definitely
and then
doesn't
often
justify shit. Like,
and then people become toxic often when if somebody's especially abusive, they might react in a aggressive fashion because maybe they're tired of being abused.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it was that. I think it's a lot of like, I think drug use in particular can make somebody act kind of weird, and just not fun to be around when they're on hard drugs, and that's mostly that's basically what I'm referring to.
Maybe there's some
But
of that.
I don't think there was any evidence that he was actually abusive towards her, and it's so depressing that everybody jumped on the bandwagon so quickly, just because of the movements that society was going towards with like the Me Too movement. People were doing.
They just wanted to
I mean,
target.
people were doing that, but
that's bandwagon jumping, man. That's all it is. Like, it's fucking crazy, and it has a lot to do with just regular human behavior that doesn't really like in motivators and stuff that don't really apply usually to people like Zoids. Like, I don't. A lot of this stuff I'm like confused by. Like, I'm like, why? What? Like, I don't understand the emotional arguments, and I don't understand why people become emotionally entangled in a story that has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, me neither. Like, I would be like, I again, like, I like to absorb this type of information. I'm just like very curious about kind of that dark side of humanity, but going to the extent of even posting online about it is like so out of my wheelhouse because I'm just not that invested.
Like, the only thing I can imagine, like when I want to discuss like news events or trends or whatever fucking bullshit TMZ or whatever it is wants to talk about at that given moment, whatever like cultural nonsense is going on. Like, I usually like talking about it like as like I said before, like more of like a meta thing. Like, I like to see how the narratives play out. I like to see how people react. I like to see human behavior trends and all kinds of shit like that, because that's the only way I could really comprehend what's happening, because I can't get emotionally invested in it. So then I just like, like, why is this happening? Why is this important to the humans? Why do the humans like this? And why do the humans get involved so deeply in this? And why is it so important to them? And then, obviously it all comes down to oftentimes to just a creation of distractions for bread and circuses and the such for individuals to participate in while they're getting, the shit end of a stick and a variety of other ways that they don't know. But And that's the stuff that actually, like, I guess that would be the stuff, the actual shit end of the stick that people are getting and I'm getting and so on and so forth. That is being kind of concealed most of the time is the stuff that I would say I might become a little more quote unquote emotionally entangled with, like as far as feeling some sense of righteous indignation and so on, is the stuff that's like more just more meta, like more like why does this narrative exist? Why are they doing this to you? What are they using this for? How are they socially engineering people? Like that kind of shit is the stuff that I can actually get more in line with having like a stronger opinion. But that's it.
I don't even think like I don't view it as social engineering, but I do agree with Sam Jam. Celebrities, social media, news and trends, it's just lies. Like that's all it boils down to.
And
Also,
yeah.
Aces Up is my husband, so husband's
Oh,
watching.
the garbage
So
queen
that's
is my
cool.
queen. Hey, what's up? What's up? 321 aces up. That's just funny. It sounds like a what do you call it? Like a white boy rapper name or something.
Yeah, I
Aces
think
up.
he's had that name for forever.
That shit's funny. Back when he was wearing baggy pants and
I don't
listening
know.
to Eminem albums. But that's interesting. Like the that's the thing. Like, don't believe the hype. I agree. Oh, damn it, Karma left. I thought he went quiet for a while. I figured he'd jump in at any point, unless we took over with all our yammering. But nah,
Probably.
he's pretty outspoken. So he probably got busy. He would just jump in when he wants. Um.
Mm.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah, like I do agree that you can't believe the hype or whatever. But I think it's personally important to understand why the hype is created, what the hype is for, to understand what the effects the hype has on like paradigm shifts and things like that, and ideas and how ideas are processed. And, like those sort of conversations are, I think, really interesting. And I think I believe that that's the sort of stuff that weirdo fucking cluster A thinking can help decipher and understand a bit further. And we would have to find a way to like convey that information in a uh, more easy to consume fashion for the greater masses or the grillers of the world that just want to know
Yeah,
why the fuck is my life not as well good as I would like it to be, or not as I would like, but just
exactly.
somewhat better. And and then having a way to explain to people like these things that keep making you think are important are not, and they're not gonna positively impact your life in any significant way. If anything, it's the opposite. And trying to explain that to people in some fashion, I think would be really useful. That's why I say that. Like, I don't know if you watched my live stream with Burger Creek, with Gideon. How he's cluster A, but he's not Zoid, so he still has like strong emotional and social attachments to things. But he's also very self-aware of why he has those things and some of the ideas that we discuss about behavior, and he knows why, but he still participates in them because he doesn't have that disconnect. And so I talked to him, and I'm just saying, like, what if like people like Zoids that communicated with other cluster A's that do have those attachments, but can understand the positions that we're proposing without becoming emotionally entangled in those positions as they're being explained to them, and then somehow translate that for neurotypical people in a way that is entertaining or helpful for them to understand both our sort of thinking as well as ways in which they can improve their own lives in a mutual fashion, like that's good for mental health in general, for like the world, or just whatever people are involved in trying to learn about that.
Yeah,
I think mental
I've
health,
only.
man, is just like so important. Like, and it's just
Oh
being
yeah,
mishandled so shittily by like, what is it, 50 years behind or something.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, like it. I have many critiques of the
oh,
mental
I
health
know,
system. Like
I know.
it's. I don't. I. I just think that most of the time they're very close-minded, and they really buy into this training that's highly flawed. And honestly, I think it's better if they just kind of throw shit at the wall and see what sticks for each individual person.
Hmm.
That kind of gets neglected. Like they say, like, oh well, CBT has the most data behind it, so it should work for everybody. And if it doesn't work for you, like,
Nah,
it's a personal
I was on the
problem.
server talking about CBT a little bit. How just it doesn't work for a lot of stuff. That's or if we're talking cluster A peeps, damn, that shit's fucking useless.
Yeah,
And for certain things, like I said, it helped me with my anxiety. That's it. It didn't help me with anything else. It could help you with. I think it's good for helping you with symptoms, but not the causes.
yeah.
So,
It never helped me with symptoms even because
uh,
I knew that there was like a core issue, and I could never get past like this is so like a lot of CBT is like to just do the thing and to just tell yourself things that maybe you don't believe are true over and over. And I can't buy into that. Like I can't feed myself bullshit, which is a lot of the CBT that I went through.
yeah,
Um
yeah. I mean, it's not generally supposed to feed you bullshit. What it's supposed to do is help you break out of intrusive thoughts and that don't reflect reality in certain respects. Like, for example, in the case of anxiety, obviously, I would have certain irrational fears, and so CBT would help you with grounding yourself and coming to terms with the fact that those fears are irrational and damaging to your health, and that the reality of the situation is not as bad as you're perceiving it to be. And so,
yeah,
for certain things, it was useful to me
I
in that sense.
never it never helped me break through any sort of irrational fears because I mean, we're very good at rationalization and I can rationalize them and
No,
I
you
can even
can.
rationalize them in a
Uh,
way that even like takes back the therapist. Like
yeah, I
they
know.
didn't know what to do with me
I know. It
because
happened to me a few times as well.
yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, what the trick is, since you can rationalize anything, you would rationalize the healthier interpretation. So you would rationalize instead of rationalizing the fear, you would rationalize the the reality that would quell that fear. So you would actually rationalize the very things that would be helpful. So it was like directed rationalization. That's how I used it. Um,
It could be. I mean, I could see if a therapist was equipped to do that,
yeah.
but that like I said, that just wasn't my experience and
No, I get it.
like
Like,
they
go ahead.
like I was so I can't make myself rationalize what's like healthy if I don't believe it's true. Like if I've already um intellectualized and rationalized something in my head to where it's true, it doesn't always matter how productive it is to me. I just want the truth. Like I'm very obsessive about that.
Um, I think William was talking about EMDR. I'm not sure. I tried a therapy where they shine a light into your eyes, supposed to help with PTSD. Yeah, EMDR seemed absurd. The woman seemed like a con artist, giving a false sense of confidence in the treatment. No, EMDR worked for me. I think a lot of this stuff only works if you process it in a way that you yourself internalize in a fashion that is disconnected from the manner in which perhaps it's being attempted to use on you. So, like for example, in the case of CBT, um, the activities and such that she was attempting to use on me. This was like an old therapist that I used to have. Like, really, really, to me, they seem like completely ridiculous activities. Like, they just didn't function for me. Like putting stuff in boxes, and like, it would be like spatial kind of things that like just like you use your imagination and shit. And
See, I'm actually. Go ahead and finish yours. I have a
oh, okay.
thing.
Well, like and that didn't work for me. No, it's not hypnosis, William. But it did not work for me. And But the ideas that she was conveying, the concepts about changing, cognitive views about specific things, and so on and so forth. Like the concepts behind what they were attempting to do theoretically, is that's what helped me change. Like, so I kind of thought about those things, internalized those things, interpreted it and intellectualized it in connection with other things I knew about myself and so on. And then using those tools, those ideas, I was able to surmount certain issues. And same thing with EMDR. For example, okay, so with EMDR, it's not supposed to be a form of hypnosis. What it's supposed to do is theoretically the rapid eye movement is supposed to let you access parts of your brain that are normally inaccessible or more difficult to access. So when you're doing the left right movement while concentrating on specific trauma and things, it's supposed to help you dig out details or feelings that you have repressed. And it did that for me when I did it, and it was very difficult and very uncomfortable. But what was interesting is the first couple sessions that I did that, I then told my psychologist, like, I don't need to do this anymore. Like, I was able to process a lot of the information that was uncomfortable and highly, I guess, emotionally charged, which to any Zoid is insanely uncomfortable, um, in a way that helped me like really get past certain things and have really healthy outlooks about certain things and have certain conversations with people with that were involved in that trauma, that were really beneficial to me. So, but I
Really,
did that. I did that in 2 sessions, right? Meanwhile, it generally takes, according to her, it takes multiple ones, right, of doing that. But I explained to her, I'm like, no, and then I kind of gave her the full explanation of what I processed, and then she's like, okay, well, that's amazing, and I'm like, yeah, it might just be the way schizoid thinks, and if they open up to certain things, and they use healthier coping mechanisms, they might be able to process difficult information in a quicker fashion. Because usually, I think what causes somebody to not get to where they need to when it comes to certain types of therapy is the emotional barriers they create and the fear it causes and the discomfort, and makes them recoil on some emotional level. Meanwhile, the Zoid might be able to just ride out the horrible discomfort, and not internalize it emotionally. And so then they're able to process the set of data that they retrieved via the therapy. Because I got a bunch of new data when I did it. I got a bunch of new information, and certain things connected that I didn't realize before. And so that didn't help me go, okay, cool. And the information, this makes sense, that makes sense. Oh, this is the source of the issue. Oh, this is the problem. It wasn't this. This was all gaslighting that occurred to me when I was a kid. Okay, I'm understanding now. This and that. And so it's weird. Like, I think certain therapies might function, but they might have to. You would have to kind of like co-opt the very therapy that you're undergoing in a customized fashion for the individual, like for the individual Zoid or whatever. Because the theories, the problem is this. I think the reason that has to occur is because a lot of concepts and ideas that are already well established about human behavior and psychology, don't necessarily apply to the Zoid. They don't necessarily. We don't really go into these things congruently because our perceptions are highly different. As I called it, I coined the term, if it didn't already exist. I tried to find it, but it doesn't exist. I coined it anomalous cognition. So, and I think we possess an anomalous cognition that basically, like whatever theories, like I said, pertaining to human behavior that are well established, don't quite apply as easily to a lot of cluster A peeps. But anyway, sorry, I talked too much.
I'm really loving what Sam Jam and William A are
Oh
saying.
yeah, go ahead and read
Like,
it. I'm good.
like
Good.
Sam Jam says, I had many people say, you think too much, as if that's wrong. Please don't think, you are weird. It gets to a point that I go, what the fuck? Apparently people don't like thinking. But I do. Deal with it. I completely agree. It really pisses me off that in order to be like considered normal and functional, you're expected to just turn off your brain most of the time. And that's a big problem that therapists had. And then Williams says like I had to get out of there quick. She was like a witch. I'm like 99% sure. I could see that.
I don't think she was a witch, and if anything, don't give witches a bad name.
That's true. So I was like considering dropping my therapy because it seemed like it was going down that kind of similar fucking line of like just CBT, just behave how I want you to act, like think how I want you to think. But my therapist did start doing some visualization with me and just had me visualize like so we just started this, so you know it'll be a while.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
He had me visualize like the different aspects of myself, and because I do so much introspection, I had like a very clear, like very, you know, instant idea of like
how to
all of the different parts. Yeah. And it seems promising. Like, you know, visualization doesn't work for everybody, and that
doesn't
makes
work
sense.
for me. Yeah, I mean that's amazing though if it works for you. It didn't work for me at all, because I don't think like that. I'm not like because that's the thing. Just like every other, this is another thing we have in common with every other human being to make you feel a little more human is we do have these differences between even Zoids in which how is it we like to learn or understand the world. Some people are visual, some people are tactile, some people are so on and so forth. They need to read it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not actually visual. Like I have aphantasia, so like I can't actually picture things in my head the way that some people can. But like I just leave my eyes open and I can just think. Like I can do spatial reasoning. I can
yeah, but I'm not saying you're imagining like these elaborate fantasies. I'm saying that you can imagine though like the like the data, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can imagine the information in front of you, almost like the stupid Sherlock. Like you just see all the parts of Cynthia, and you're just like, okay, Cynthia's this, Cynthia's that. Okay, this is connected to this, and this is connected to that, and so on and so forth. And you visualize it like a computer screen, like information in front of you, geometric shapes at best. But no, I get it. I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't implying like because I'm not good at even like I'm not very good at even that. Like I don't do that. My sort of thinking is highly. It's like controlled chaos usually. I rely on it in the sense that like I just consume information, and then if I'm talking about myself or trying to figure out shit about myself, I just consume and I consume and I consume, and then like stuff just starts clicking. I don't have like an order or some kind of thing laid out in my mind. It's more like just stuff starts just connecting for no reason seemingly, but I've gotten so used to it that I know how to direct it when I need to, and it's pretty awesome, and that's how I process things. So
yeah, like you like Mr. Husband, Ace's he can relate a lot, I'm sure, because he's ADHD.
I think it might
Um,
have something to do with that too. Yeah, because it might have to definitely do the ADD. It's just constant like information flow, and then do. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! It almost feels like I'm playing a video game where like one of the like Galaga or something you were like riding or something like where just a bunch of bullets and shit are flying everywhere, and I'm like I have to like dodge the right ones and shoot things and get power ups and stuff. Like it feels like that erratic. Like that's how it feels. Like the way I process information. And but like I can create. How do I put this? Even though it's chaotic, I can compartmentalize it enough to where I can make a level of like if you want to compare it to a video game, I can make a video game level with the
uh,
information enclosed in it that I need, and then play that level. And then
yeah,
and as I play through that level, I learn all these things. And that's how I do it. And that's how it seems to work for me. It's always worked for me that way. And and so usually when I'm trying to do something or trying to process something, I'll set it up that way in my mind. And that's why oftentimes I like to listen to music. Because it helps me focus and concentrate on what it is I'm trying to get through. Like it's almost like a rhythm game, like fucking Dance Evolution in my mind. And
yeah, it's so funny. You're like a mix of like my husband and I, like
what?
somehow weirdly mashed together.
What?
But I relate to a lot of like your being Zoid and generally emotionally detached, but also, pretty angry about stuff. Like anger being the
Oh yeah,
emotion that you
dude,
have the
anger,
most
anger for
access
sure.
to.
Fucking
But the way
mad.
he is, sounds a lot like what you're describing, where it's just like all over the place, and he needs music to like
Yeah, it's.
drown things out, and then like
Oh, you've heard
focus
me
and
talk
move
about that before. How
around.
I like right now I'm playing ambient music. I play it for the stream. I had some people tell me like, oh, I don't like it. It's fucking distracting or whatever. I'm just making fun of you guys. But I need it because without it, I'm just like I get lost in my own brain. Like it's the only thing that keeps me from doing that whole kind of like Nanomo often describes because it happens to him where like I just start floating away. Like because if I don't have, hold on. If I don't have some kind of music in the background, I just float away. Like I can't do it, man. It's like crazy, but I really can't. Like my mind just goes into impossible directions that I can't even retrieve myself. It's kind of shitty. So it makes having a conversation. Sorry, I'm putting on some new music now, while I wait here. Because I want to change the pace here. There we go. Um, Fuck you, commercials. I don't give a shit about you. Go away. There we go. Are you still on, Cynthia?
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
chilling.
Cool. Chill away. Um, I don't hear anything. Is it playing?
I'm like,
There we go. There we go. Some nice
um,
atmospheric black
people
metal.
people are asking about brothers and sisters.
Oh, okay,
I
sure.
mean,
I'll bring that up. Hold on. Well, oh shit, there's a
like
bunch of posts.
I have a brother. We really didn't get along when, I mean, so my parents were honestly like pretty fucking neglectful, for varying reasons. Like, they had good reasons. So for a long time, I actually took care of my brother, but like once we hit a certain age, there was a lot of animosity. That was like bred between us, and at a certain point, we couldn't even live together. We had to live with each parent separately. Like I lived with my mom, he lived with my dad, and he was kind of like the delinquent. He dealt with sort of what I would consider trauma. I don't know if he considers it that, but he dealt with it by being kind of a delinquent, but now he's doing like really fucking well.
It's
And
good.
everybody got it backwards. Like everybody would say that I would be successful and like he would just like waste his life away, end up in juvie, blah blah blah. He somehow like dodged all that shit and just he worked really hard
Now
and
Cynthia's going to juvie.
no, I went to the crazy house instead, It's it's a more fitting place for
The
what I
crazy
am.
house. The crazy house.
Yeah, the fucking nut house.
If only it was full of actual nuts. I wanted my macadamias, cashews, walnuts.
Pistachios. That
Mhm.
would have been much better than all the bullshit.
It's more of a it's less of a nut house and more of a nutcracker house.
True. Very, very true. I mean, if you've never been there, like, that's exactly what they like to do.
Nutcrack.
Mhm.
Insert joke about Zoid and Freud. I'm a normie. Don't kill me. LOL joke. Dude, Ace is up. I gotta just tell you, if you married this person, you ain't no normie. But in the case, like you gotta have something wrong with you. Okay,
True.
so
He's crazy in a way different way.
no, I know. I'm just fucking around because my God. Hey, Gabriel, what's up?
And actually, I'll trade in.
Same shit, man. I'm glad you're not outside today with a bunch of noise behind you.
Yeah,
Macadamia nuts.
I did
are
all
the
my
best.
outside shit.
You already finished your outside shit?
Yep.
That's good. Macadamia nuts are the best, warm and salty.
No, wrong.
Sam Jen
Pistachios.
likes warm and salty nuts. I got some
No,
for you,
it's
Sam Jen.
salted cashews. Those are the best.
Oh, yeah?
Those are also good, but no, pistachios.
How about flax?
Look, if you buy them pre-peeled, yes, but if you have to shuck them yourself, then no.
True. I don't know, they're fresher when you shuck them yourself, but like, yeah, it hurts.
But then you can't eat a whole handful of them unless you want to spend an hour.
I only like nuts if they're loaded in spicy substances. So I like spicy. Like I don't care if it's an almond or a cashew. If you cover it in fucking some kind of spicy ass rub, I'm good. I'm set. Some Cajun shit, I'm good. I'll eat it. I don't care. I don't like almonds much though. They're too tough. If they're chopped, then they're good. But like full on roasted almonds, bleh. They're just too fucking chewy. I don't like it. It's gross. Raw almonds even worse.
Caramelized pecans. How about those?
I've never had them. I remember I used to eat like sunflower seeds and stuff. Those are fun. But I like them when they're already pitted because I don't like doing the whole cracking them in my mouth.
Fuck, we didn't talk about your brothers or sisters if you have
Fuck you, Cynthia.
babe.
I'll get to it when I want to.
Well, I'm just trying to bring things
Oh,
on
hey, that
track.
reminds me. Holy shit. Here, let me. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought I had something up. Never mind. But oh yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna stream my. I still got like another chunk of change here, but I was gonna stream my page that I have up so you guys can see it too. If I start reading Reddit shit. I think it's this one, right? Yeah, I believe it's this one. Yeah. That should be it. So you guys can look at it while we do this. Yeah. Just in case you start reading through shit. But no, my brothers and sisters, I don't have any brothers, but I do have a sister. Why did my cursor disappeared? Okay, cool, guys. I can't see my cursor anymore. That's fucking weird. Hold on. Have you ever had that happen? There you go. Now it's back. It's like it like got caught between two layers on my screen. But as far as siblings go, I have one sister. No brothers. That one sister, I have no major issues with her. You know, she might have made some life choices that I wasn't like a fan of here and there, but that's her life, you know. I actually more recently explained to her my situation, so I kind of told her about my mental health stuff, and was straightforward with it, and she seemed to be very respectful, understood it, and was actually like, just like, because I had done the same with my mother. recently because of, like I said, the EMDR actually allowed me to get to a point where I was able to speak to my mother on the subject in a way that was really, really helpful to both parties. And it was just kind of the same with my sister. It was just kind of an explanation of like, this is what I am, this is how I function, these are the things that I appreciate about your existence. I apologize if it's not a conventional relationship that we have, but please be respectful of it. And because I do care in my own way about my nephew, you in turn are somebody that I would prefer was in my life in some regard or another, but obviously with boundaries that I'm comfortable with. And having that kind of conversation was really helpful, really useful for them as well. And I had, like I said, a similar conversation with my mother, and they found it handy because, well, especially my mother, because they got to fill in the gap for a lot of questions that they had about why it is that I was so distant and disconnected. So in my mother's case, probably there was like a lot of guilt, a lot of issues because I had a troubled childhood. So there was probably a lot of issues and guilt pertaining to that she probably believed was the central reason for my detachment. And when I explained all this stuff and where it came from, when it started, and all that stuff, and basically told her that I forgave her, my mother, and so because she's made so many strides and efforts to be a part of my children's lives, and other things. And then with my sister, how if I'm distant, it's not because I hate you or anything, or it's just I'm disconnected in general from my family members in that emotional capacity, and then in general I'm the same way about most people. But it doesn't mean I can't have this kind of sort of non-emotional respect for people in my life that do positive things for those that I do care about more closely. So, for example, my children, I am emotionally connected to, extremely emotionally connected to. So anyone that does positive things for them, especially if they're family, and make them feel good in a normal way, because in ways that maybe I can't, well, I mean, I can make them feel good, but in ways that I can't feel good or connect, they become my kids, or my daughter specifically, 'cause she's older, she's older, and she's emotionally attached to my mother as a grandmother, because she's a wonderful grandmother, and she's also emotionally attached to my sister because she's a good aunt. She's a good aunt. She's active, she takes her out, she interacts with her, things like that. And because of those reasons, and because they're all positive relationships that have been established between my daughter and my sister, as well as my mother, I respect and appreciate the efforts they put in, and I can kind of human connect with them a little bit in that sense, via by proxy through the love I have for my daughter. Yeah. So and that's how I see it. And so my father's situation is completely different. It's not the same at all. So I won't discuss that too much further here. Maybe another time. I don't want to get mad right now. I'm having a good time. So but in any case, yeah, and I think a lot of Zoids can learn to care about people by proxy of the people that they do manage to get close to. So, for example, as well, because I love so much my wife, I also and because my wife has a mostly healthy relationship with, say, her mother and stuff, I can be close to my mother-in-law in a positive way, because I see her as a person that positively impacts, or that my wife cares about in a significant way. So that allows me to further care about her. And then over time, I managed to establish even if they're not as strong, anywhere near as strong as, say, a different person, like a neurotypical person, I managed to establish certain, I guess, human connections to her, as rudimentary as they might be, but still, I mean, that's still really important and strong for a Zoid to be able to do that at all. So, and that's how I see it. I kind of I can care about people through proxy. And
I mean,
and
I
so on.
disagree. Disagree on like the importance aspect, but I do think like it's rather.
Well, it's useful.
I mean, it's
and
rather shocking. It's like,
it's useful.
you know.
It's useful. It's useful for practical reasons. It's also useful um, just, I guess, reciprocal altruism sort of reasons.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like if, like in your case, your hubby, right? Like it's like if your hubby had let's just say he had a really good male friend of his, like a best friend, right? And that best friend of his, like, say you're not particularly connected to in any way, shape, or form, but you see that, like, when he has a hard time or when something happens or when shit hits the fan, he has this friend that's got his back, right? He has this friend that's saved him or helped him in ways that, like, maybe you couldn't necessarily because, you know, maybe you didn't have the tool set for that particular help, provide that particular kind of help or something. And then seeing that person is there and positively influences both your relationship and, say, them, could in turn make you appreciate their existence, because it makes things better for the person that you do love. And so then in turn you can kind of care about that person's well-being as well, because if their well-being is obviously if it's damaged or hurt, it could in turn hurt the person you love the most. So
yeah, I mean, like, I could never like form an emotional connection in any sort of way, but like I can be altruistic towards them. Like if they do need, I mean, emotional help, I'm just not equipped to do that. I know that about
That's fine.
myself.
I mean, yeah, it might take you another decade. Who knows?
Yeah.
Never assume what you can and can't accomplish in, like, the course of years. I could have told you a decade ago. I would have said the same thing, that I wouldn't be capable of something like that. I was a lot colder, I would say. I was a lot more of an asshole, that's for sure. Zero interest in even reciprocally altruistic behavior sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not an asshole. Like, everybody will tell you I'm very polite, but I'm just very distant. Like, I just don't,
Yeah.
you know, like, if they need help with something physical, or like, people tend to tell me a lot of things, and like,
Yeah, same.
I think I give appropriate responses, because a lot of people will give responses like, oh, everything will be okay, you know, like, it's okay, like, you're fine, you know, like, oh, there's no need to cry, shit like that. And I just go like, wow, that really sucks, like, you know, that's a rough time. And I think people need and prefer to hear that more than like just this empty bullshit of like everything's gonna be okay, because like you don't even know what okay means to that person. Like, are they gonna be suffering for the rest of their life because, say, like, their mom died of cancer, like, and that's always gonna be a scar on them? Maybe. You know, you don't fucking know what that means to them. So maybe just saying like, that sucks, that's, you know, that's really rough, you're going through a hard time. I think that's better.
Yeah, that made me think right now about like how maybe we do need like a handful of a Zoid or cluster A focused psychologists, or that are cluster A. Maybe we need a Zoid psychologist that is a Zoid. That out there. So that might actually be something that would be really helpful to.
I mean,
people.
I don't even think it's just Zoids. I think I just think there's a lot of bullshit
yeah.
that's spread in society, and that's just spread in psychology in particular. Like,
Yeah.
just get through things, like, you'll be fine.
Just positive reinforcement sort of nonsense.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
I hate that positivity.
But this is the issue though. This is
toxic positivity.
Yeah, this is one of the
Sorry.
issues though. Is that a lot of that stuff does work. A lot of that stuff works on people that don't have the same issues as say ourselves. Because most even people that are in other clusters and other issues, they still can produce emotional and social connections. So that sort of stuff can still work or help. And we're a minority. We're like this tiny minority of people that are like this.
Like the idea of forming an emotional connection to my therapist is just, I mean, I think I've did the meme or the Pepe many times before on like the Zoid Void Discord of like the barfing. Like, it just makes me want to barf. Like,
yeah, of course.
Fuck that. Like, you're just here to help me. You're a fucking tool, and I'm a tool that, you know, makes you money, and like that's what we are to each other. So don't.
Yeah. Maybe a Zoid psychologist can provide that environment, because they could tell you that. They would tell you that.
Wow. That's probably the nicest way someone's ever been called a tool.
Yeah, probably. But my point is like maybe a Zoid psychologist or something, if there was one out there, could just be like, oh yeah, that's fine. We're just both flesh bags that are here to help each other's flesh bag brains. So let's work together, and I'll make some money helping you, and I'll provide you a good service, because you're providing me monetary returns. and there you go.
Just get over it partly. Like, it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion.
What?
What isn't?
The therapist trying to attach themselves to you.
You think that's not that big of a deal? Because I definitely do.
Gotta disagree with you there, Gabriel. Sorry. It's just not. That's not going to work for most Zoids. I think it just because people attempting to attach themselves to you is literally the fucking anathema to fucking a Zoid.
Like,
well, then just let it happen. Like that's the point. Like,
no,
it's creating a block. Like, it's an uncomfortable thing. I understand that, but
no.
Why would
I'm not going to what's the word, concede a part of myself to the therapist if it isn't necessary to help me. I haven't had to do it with my current psychologist, so I don't understand, and I've done a million times better with them. I don't understand why that would be beneficial for me to do that, to put myself in a position in which I'm highly uncomfortable and highly feeling highly what's the word, invaded or intruded upon. I don't. Well,
I mean, if
it just means you have a lower ceiling for growth.
No.
Like, that's
how is
incorrect.
That growthful?
Incorrect, sir. I've grown aplenty, and mostly because I finally found somebody that doesn't do exactly what you're proposing. I should allow them to do.
I mean, so.
I'm not claiming that growth is impossible. I'm just saying, like, it's just limited now.
No.
I'm just curious about like what your line of thinking is, because to me, I want to grow in the way that I want to grow. So like, if a therapist is trying to force some sort of emotional connection to me, that's not the way that I want to grow. I don't want to form a connection to somebody that has just kind of a financial vested interest in me, and maybe they're empathetic, you know, maybe they're an empathetic type of person, but that wouldn't help me grow. So I'm curious, like, what you
I don't need their empathy.
Think would be growthful. Like, what would be?
I just want to be normal, and like that's kind of the point of it.
Yeah, that's I think the key difference.
Yeah.
I don't want to be normal.
No, yeah, that is one of the key. Gabriel's explained that before. Gabriel is seeking something different than than what I'm seeking, and perhaps Cynthia's seeking.
I mean, my underlying assumption is that the more you do something, the easier it is to do it again. That kind of desensitization thing. So it's like,
true.
Yeah, I mean that part's true, but there's certain things that I don't want to do.
Well, then don't do them. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get stung by bees,
said
but I'm
you
sure
had
if I get stung by enough bees, I eventually stop fucking caring that I'm getting stung by bees. It doesn't make getting stung by bees healthy. Like, it's just desensitizing yourself to a compromising thing is not necessarily a positive. It doesn't produce a net positive necessarily.
I want to play like devil's advocate. Like, I think what he's saying is that he does want to be able to form that kind of emotional attachment more easily than we can or we want to.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be helpful.
I mean, in that sense, maybe.
That's kind of what I mean.
But just because you're resigned to something that already makes you uncomfortable doesn't make it a stronger connection.
It just gives you more hours of practice doing it. It widens your range of experience.
Mm-hmm. I would argue that it just isn't necessary. That's my point. I don't think. I think that could be highly detrimental to the individual. Maybe not to you, but I don't think it's necessary for them to be normal or establish normative ways of connecting to others, because they're, generally speaking, I mean, not generally speaking, but like, as far as if I'm talking about the manner in which a lot of Zoids developed cognitively, it's going to be misaligned. It's not going to connect. Like the manner in which when we grow up, by the time we're like in our 20s, we have a way of we interpret and analyze and cognitively understand the world. And it's not through the lens of social connections or emotional connections. So being able to achieve a skill, or whatever you want to call it, that doesn't align with how our perception is, and that's unalterable. That's not going to change unless you, I don't know, go live up in you can't be a hermit. You'd have to, I don't know what you would have to do. Maybe years and years, maybe decades of exposure could maybe alter it somehow. But even then, I don't see the effort being all that helpful. I see it. Yeah.
Can I give you an analogy?
Sure, you love those.
Well, I mean, there's two ways you can get better at a task, right? You can focus on your strengths, or you can focus on improving your weaknesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this would essentially be me trying to raise up my weaknesses, and I might have some kind of hard limit to what I'm capable of in that sense. But by raising, you're essentially only as strong as your weakest trait.
But my point is that you wouldn't.
Or it's excessively limiting.
But my point is that increasing your ability to do something that I know the definition normal is always changing. I get it but increasing your ability to do something that isn't congruent with your cognition doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're learning a new skill. It's hard. And
no, but it doesn't make sense. What would be beneficial to do that? Because, I could learn how to.
So much relies on emotional connection. Even just basic, you're at work. And,
if you're talking about practically, yes. Yeah, if you're talking about for pragmatic reasons,
so much
maybe.
Of everything. No, I'm not talking. I mean, when I explain it in words, everything sounds pragmatic, But it's you can have a relationship with your boss, and you can do very well in your career. But if you have just a little bit more on an emotional level, you're going to undoubtedly do better in your career.
That's pragmatism. You're just describing pragmatism.
I'm explaining how there's benefits to improving
That's pragmatism.
Your lowest skill.
I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but you're giving pragmatic arguments.
Well, no, but you said that it was different. It's so radically different from the way you think. So why is it Like, why would it be beneficial? I'm saying why it's beneficial.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there are pragmatic arguments you're making, and I can see those arguments being valid. But my point is,
but it becomes second nature after a while.
I disagree. I don't think it ever could. This is how it feels to me. When you're
It's starting to for me.
Awesome. That's amazing, and maybe definitely.
Well, he's also a bit younger. Aren't you around my age, Gabe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, even though your brain is kind of like fully formed around 25, if you are 25, like, I do think it's a bit more malleable, and if you put in a ton of effort and patience, and you actually like value that as some sort of I don't know, like, just a ultimate good, not even just for practical reasons, because I function very well in a work environment and around people, and I know how to get what I want completely without emotional connection. Now, other people can kind of either try to force an emotional connection or like believe there's an emotional connection, but I don't feel that is worth it. But if you believe it as like an actual good in and of itself, I can understand where he's coming from. I wanted to read what Sam Jam says.
Oh, do it.
Just because it goes back to like the therapy itself.
Go for it.
Actually, if the therapist gets personal and discloses his or her issues or life, I don't know, my judgment gets in the way of therapy. Yeah, they shouldn't be disclosing too much of their own life. It's very unprofessional.
Yeah, they're not supposed to do that at all.
And they said, I need strict professional attachment, which I agree with. But the emotional connection is oftentimes forced upon you. That is a normal practice on psychology called transference. Yeah, and it's that idea of transference that actually makes me want to vomit. Like,
yeah, transference is horrible for the Zoid.
Yeah, it's just what no. I mean, honestly,
no.
Like people with BPD, I've heard that is very important to them because they still have, and this is just my understanding, I'm not a professional or an expert, but like my understanding is that they do form a lot of connections based on that idea or based on almost like a Freudian thing that they see everybody or lots of people as a sort of parental figure, or they that's kind of how the lens through which they view the world is. Like, they feel like children and they do see other figures as almost parental figures. That's why they're like so afraid of like abandonment, because they feel something connected to like their parents that are actually like abandoning them, leaving them in like almost a childlike state.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Mr. Husband says having too much emotion in a work environment can also be
problematic. Absolutely. But there's a difference between emotion and connection. But yeah, at least in my opinion, I haven't heard you say a thing. So, E-Man, do you have anything to state on this? Any thoughts? Or just
my opinion,
because you're the same age as me, so maybe age does have some involvement.
Well,
we're almost the same age, but yeah.
My experience with therapy is I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I've gone through 5-6 different therapists. None of them ever actually listened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had very similar issues, and I was about to quit therapy, like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, and finally, I think it clicked for my therapist that, like, all of his normie shit, like the normie shit that he's used to dealing with, was not going to work for me. So he came up with something a little more experimental, and you know, I'm hopeful. I don't know if it's gonna work, but he did actually, you know, take take what I was saying into account, and that's so important.
And that's one of the things that could be helpful for you, as far as helping you mend some of that, some of the issues you have with like paranoia and stuff you have with the psychological community is seeing the silver lining in that, and the fact that your therapist or whatever is actually taking the time to do something experimental, go out of his way in order to help you, when in fact he could, if he wanted to, get rid of you because maybe you're too difficult, but he's decided that that he wants to do this, even if it's only for non-attachment reasons, more like he's excited to have a client that is going to let him do something more, something different. Maybe it's exciting to the psychologist.
Yeah.
So in any case, whatever the reason, I think it's good to look at the positive in that and maybe respect the fact that that they're attempting something.
Yeah,
different.
the thing that bothered me the most about therapists, and I actually specifically asked for a male therapist because I think they have less issues with that, less expectations to act in a sort of empathetic way, was that he displays like true empathy. Like I feel as though I can see pretty well through all the fucking fake empathy that I've
The
witnessed
performative
in
stuff you're
therapy.
talking about. The performative
Yeah,
empathy. Yeah.
and like with him, it was like more patient, more empathetic in the sense of like not being emotional about it,
Mm-hmm.
but like just truly wanting to work through things on a level that resonated with me.
Yeah, because
and like that was good.
you're right. If you want to display empathy, if somebody that's actually being empathetic to Zoid is somebody that will give you the room you need, is somebody that will listen, is somebody that won't badger, intrude, knows what questions they probably shouldn't ask or should ask, knows when to back off. Like that's how you show a Zoid. If you want to be a therapist or psychologist and you want to show a Zoid empathy or whatever we want to call it, that's the manner in which you do it. If you want to show them that you actually give a shit about helping them, that's how you do it. You don't do it via the conventional methods or the performative stuff, because that stuff is uncomfortable and insulting, and it's just not good. But E-Man, I did want to hear what you had to say. You were going to elaborate a little further.
Well, it seems like every time I've gone in to see a therapist, usually in the very first like session or whatever, they're like, okay, like what are the things you want to talk about? Like what are the issues you're having? Like what are your problems going on? And I'll give them a list of like 4 or 5 different things. They'll pick the 2 easiest, most obvious ones, give me the same basic information and worksheets.
That's why
That's the worst.
Yeah.
They'll tell me it's like, okay, well, like, why don't you go try like find an activity, like go out and see how it is. And I come back, I'm like, I went tried it. It was a shit show. Here's the reasons why it was a shit show. And their response is, I don't know what to tell you.
Ugh, what the fuck? Okay, that's a terrible.
I've been through the exact same thing.
Okay, man, that is some fucking low grade fucking psychology. And that's the thing too. I know people say, "Oh, there's no difference. There's no difference." There is a difference. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Talk to you. You need to get yourself, if possible, get yourself a psychologist, not a therapist, because and I know I get that there's therapists. I get that there's therapists out there that are well read and whatever. But honestly, for a therapist or whatever, or somebody to be able to help somebody that's a Zoid, they really need to have a firm understanding, even if some of that information is incorrect, a firm understanding of abnormal psychology.
See, this is why I disagree, and it's highly anecdotal, but every psychologist
anecdotal,
that I met
Cynthia.
is like it's true. I mean, like, I guess that's all we're doing. Right now, but
yeah.
Every psychologist and psychiatrist that I've met, besides my current psychiatrist, and I've been to a lot of them, seems like a malignant, toxic motherfucker.
Jesus. Yeah, but see, but how much of that, like, I wonder, oftentimes, look, I'm not saying this is the case, right? I'm just throwing it out there, but I wonder how much of the time it is that they're malignant, toxic motherfuckers, and how many of the times, maybe a partial amount of those times, they're ignorant, not toxic, but you're perceiving them as such, or they don't, or their approach is bad, or they misdiagnosed, or they mistook the situation or whatever. That doesn't necessarily make them malignant, toxic motherfuckers. I'm just saying. Is that a possibility?
The psychologist that I saw, I was kind of, my brain was fully developed. I'm 25. That's generally when your brain stops developing. She did give me the correct what I believe is the correct diagnosis of schizoid. And she, again, just bad vibes. Just, perhaps I'm overconfident, but my intuition is usually correct. And she did not seem like she would be any sort of good fit for me. And I canceled, I tried to set up an appointment with her as a psychologist, and I canceled immediately.
That's the thing too. This is something I do for myself all the time. It seems to have been incredibly beneficial. And I'm not saying it would work for everyone, but I didn't used to. But now, maybe it's because I gotten older or whatever, but I constantly question my own intuitions. And I question them, and not in a I'm filled with doubt. No, in a, okay, why am I doing this? What is my reasoning?
Yeah, I do that
How
with
sound
certain
is
things.
this? How sound is this? Gut checks. I gut check myself all the time now. And it's been very beneficial. But
the problem is, I don't seem to need to do that. Is the issue?
Everyone needs to do that.
I don't seem to need to do that as much. Now, there are things where it's I'm highly uncomfortable. When I was looking into CBT and DBT as a concept, that I did question, and I looked up information over and over again, and I still came to the same conclusions about it. I did doubt myself on those particular things, because I realized that it was coming from a place of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can do that. I'm curious what Eman
could you tell us a little bit more what you're saying, and then maybe you have some thoughts on what I just said about gut checking and intuition. But go ahead.
Well, it's usually I've had problems with depression and anxiety for a hell of a long time, and it seems like whenever I bring that up with anybody in the mental health field, they push everything to the side and they're like, okay, we're just going to talk about these two things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's going to be everything we talk about. That's going to be your medication. It's just everything else is just other stuff.
Okay,
we're just going to focus on these.
I want to ask you a simple question regarding that, though. Because this is what I do, and this is what's been helpful to me as far as when it comes to therapy. Did you tell them that's not going to work?
I usually tried to, and that tended to be the last time I would see them.
Okay, well then that's probably for the best. But that's the only reason I've gotten to where I've gotten to, because there's my psychologist, right? There was a few times in which she was attempting things that wouldn't work for me, right? Or in taking it in directions that wouldn't work for me. And so I would just tell her that's not going to help me. And she'd be like, okay, what do you want to try? Well, what are you interested in? What do you want to look at? And I'd be like, I want to look at this. I want to look at this. I want to look at this. I want to focus on this. I want to talk about these things. And then if a few sessions later, I'm like, okay, I'm done with those things. Let's talk about this thing. And she would be like, all right, let's go in that direction. Let's go. And then we would just do that. You have to find somebody that'll do that with you. And unfortunately, what I've tend to notice is, especially with PDs that are highly, like the individuals are highly passive or stoic, they tend to allow the professional to guide the direction of the session. And then when the results that they wanted or the conversations they wanted to have don't occur, they cast the blame entirely on the professional, right? I think when you're dealing with your own mental health, I think one has to accept a certain level of self-control or self-responsibility, in the sense that you have to be direct. You have to be like, hey, this is what I need. These are the directions I need to go in. If you're not willing to provide that, yeah, but I'm just saying, if they don't want to provide that, then you move on. You definitely don't stick around. Especially once you get a diagnosis. You need somebody that understands what it is and how to help you. And you can even say that the first day you meet them, or the phone call you meet them, when you get a new one. And if they're not willing to budge, or they don't want to understand that, you move on to the next one. As simple as that. And then once you find one that's willing to work, change, understand, and do those sorts of things, that's when you stick around. And I know it's super difficult, because I am anomalous as a Zoid in the sense that I'm aggressive, right? So I have an aggressive personality when I need it to be aggressive, when I actually give a shit about what it is that's happening. Especially it has to do with my own mental health. But I mean, that's the only piece of advice I could have to improve the likelihood of finding a proper psychologist, is being aggressive with them. If they can't handle your aggression, they're shit. They're not going to work to begin with. Like, my psych can handle my aggression. I've yelled at her. I've gotten pissed. And she's just stoic. Chill. And that's what you need. Even if you're not, like, say, angry like me, I also mean aggressive when it comes to, like, saying what it is you want, what it is you need, what it is you're looking for, what process works for you, what process doesn't work for you, being real logical, real, just real direct about what it is that you've done so far when it comes to your own self-work, and how you want to use those frameworks that you've already established that have been beneficial to you, and to take it from there. And that you want the psychologist to essentially be like somebody that asks you or tries to take you in directions that maybe you haven't gone in, because or tries to help you push past barriers that you've set up for yourself because of negative reasons that are difficult for you. And then basically helping you, giving you the tools that might be useful to breaking down some of those barriers on your own, not them doing it for you. So, I mean, that's my thought on that. I wanted to share that. And so you haven't been able to find anyone yet, E-Man, that does this for you?
Like, there were a couple of years where I went through like 3-4 different people, and I just kind of stopped.
But
it felt like it was more of a hassle looking for somebody.
Sucks, man. I hate that, because I get that. I can actually empathize with that, because that's shit. Like, getting that level of frustration. But like, honestly, man, if it's been a few years, I would say it might be time to look for somebody else and approach them with whatever wisdom and whatever work you've done for yourself on your own thus far, and approach them with it and tell them what the situation is, and tell them what you need from them, and that's it. Like, and I would say be straightforward as possible, as quickly as possible. If you attempt it again, so maybe you can be a little more assertive this time around than you were a few years ago. You gotta peace out and do some notes. Just say it. Fucking, you're right here, Cynthia.
I'm not gonna. I don't want to interrupt.
You always interrupt.
Important conversation. Yeah, I know, but usually I interrupt with something pertinent. So.
Oh, okay. I don't care. It's fine. Interrupt away. If it's I just say I gotta go, guys. Hey, later. All right, peace out. Have a good day. Or whatever, or don't. I don't know. But I mean, is there a possibility that you could seek out help again this time, E-Man, and that your approach might be a little bit different since it's been years?
Well, I am. When I stopped seeing them, I was in a position where I really didn't have a lot of choices. But now.
There we go. We're back. Sorry about that, E-Man. I don't know what you said for the last minute or two, or not. No, not minute. Like 30 seconds, because it disconnected for like 30 seconds.
Oh, but basically, it's like I'm in a different kind of like financial situation now, so I probably have more
leeway
options than I did. But it's just I have to get back into it again.
I would say, man, that would be beneficial. I really do. Because that's the thing. Like, that's how I was. Like, that's how I had to be with my approach when I was looking for help. I had to be like, okay, I'm looking for a psychologist that knows how to deal with this. I'm looking for a psychologist that's dealt with people that have this issue. Are you that psychologist? No, yes, that's not my specialty. This and that, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's kind of how, the best way to approach it. If, it's kind of like looking for, a specialist in anything else, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be like a specialist in schizoid, but like a specialist or somebody that's already has cluster A clients. It doesn't have to be specifically Zoid, because that's really rare. That's super difficult to find somebody that's actually had Zoid clients. But there's plenty of people that have had schizotypal and schizophrenic clients. And somebody that's already... and the thing about schizophrenics and schizotypals is that, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them can often have some of the symptoms, the negative symptoms, like anhedonia and avolition, that the Zoid deals with. And if it's mostly that. It's mostly like you need a psych that knows a lot or has dealt a lot with people that have both anhedonia, avolition, as well as like just different ways of thinking cognitively than like your average individual. People that highly intellectualize their situations instead of emotionalize them or anything. Because like somebody that's like, say, oh man, very experienced with people with BPD, very experienced with people with, you know, avoidant, they don't necessarily have the tools to deal with somebody that's cluster A. So I would say I'd be the best bet. Finding a cluster A focused or cluster A experienced psychologist. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thought on it. Because if you don't want to do a crapshoot, if you don't want to, like, it depends on your insurance too. It depends on if you've already been diagnosed too as being cluster A in some respect. If there's a record of it, then you can bring that to them too. You can say, okay, I'm already diagnosed as schizoid. I'm diagnosed as this. I need somebody that knows how to deal with the issues pertaining to cluster A PD. Because a lot of the times too, what's funny is even if you're Zoid, that's what people forget, man. People that are Zoids aren't normal thinkers usually, or like, you know, neurotypical thinkers. Like they do a lot of weird sort of autistic shit. They do a lot of really kind of strange sort of thinking. And that's because of growing up without those normal connections. So that's my point. Like, what did William says? Zoinks. You probably know more about this than any of these therapists. Maybe I'm cynical. Very useful tips. Thanks, Sam Jam. No, it's not that I know more. I just know more about myself than any fucking therapist, right? And since I know about myself, this is the thing too. Ever since like I've been doing this stuff with the server and doing these live streams, especially these live streams have been fucking beneficial. It's that I've been able to find parallel situations and almost like what's the word when you have like a criminal situation and corroboration. Yeah, there you go. So I've been being able to find corroborating evidence, even if it's somewhat anecdotal, via my conversations with a lot of different Zoids, whether through text, whether through the server, whether through the VC, and then reading and then comparing that to my notes already on the subject and my own issues and my own studies on it and everything like that. Connecting all those dots is helping me have a very strong understanding of what it is to be schizoid. And because of that, I've come to the conclusion that the fundamental way in which most psychologists approach helping an individual with certain types of problems is not really conducive to helping someone that's schizoid. And it requires a set of skills and understandings that I don't think most psychologists possess. I don't think I would say that the majority maybe don't possess. Another approach too, guys, is say you have a therapist right now or a psychologist, right, that doesn't quite get the whole Zoid thing or isn't really taking care of the problem that you need taking care of or talking about it in a way that's functioning for you. What might be beneficial or useful is to use them temporarily to attack a specific negative symptom associated with your PD, maybe like say anxiety or paranoia of some kind or something, and then maybe stemming the flow on some of those while you still seek out somebody else that can help you with the more core issues of your situation. That's my suggestion there. Like, don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, because even if you find like somebody that can help you deal with your core issues, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be really good at dealing with some of the like all the negative symptoms. Like, they might be able to help you get to the bottom of certain things, but they might not necessarily know a good approach to helping you deal with anxiety or spikes in depression or something. Especially if you have comorbids, then it gets really complicated. Because then if like dealing with me is not the same as say, because E-Man, you don't have ADHD, right, or ADD?
No, I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So the way you deal with E-Man and the way you deal with me, even though we're both schizoids, is fundamentally going to be different in some respects. But the thing that is going to be the same is our need for autonomy, our need for self-sufficiency, our need for little to no transference on the part of the psychologist, in order for us to feel safe and comfortable enough to work on ourselves with them. Things like that. Go ahead. What's up, Karma? I can't hear you, bud. You're roboting out.
Hang on a minute.
Let me just get out of my truck.
Can you hear me better now?
Let me get out of my truck. Put this pumpkin down. Anyway. Go ahead.
Could you hear me better?
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you better now. Now that you're off the road. All right, what's up? Oh, you're roboting out again. What's going on?
What the?
Fuck, man.
What about now?
Okay, go. Say your point now. Well, it's good.
Okay. So I think your therapist should be able to share with your psychologist. It helps me personally. I hate to just sit there and talk to somebody and they have nothing to do with it, you know.
Oh, okay, so you like a little bit of transference?
Yeah.
A little bit emotional input on their part?
Yeah, if there wasn't that, then there's no way I could have done it.
Well, there you go.
It's the only reason why
we're all fucking different. We're all so fucking different. But that's the thing, though. This is the thing. See, this is where I'm getting to a certain point. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's more complex than even that. Perhaps it like, for example, it's kind of weird. It's almost like you need an entire specialty or field of psychology that focuses on the manner in which a cluster A deals with comorbids. Because like somebody that's like BPD and schizoid is gonna be completely fucking different than someone that's just BPD. And it's gonna just alter the entire methodology that you're gonna have to approach that person with. And it's the same thing with ADHD and Zoid and things like that. I think honestly, I think the only thing you could really do. Why is everyone disappearing? Did they get disconnected again? They got bored finally.
I'm not sure.
They just heard you. No, I'm just kidding. Fucking with you. Fucking with you. I think what's important is customizing your therapy. Like you need to be like, this is what I need. This is what works for me. This is what doesn't work for me. If you don't do that, I think that might be the number one thing a Zoid has to fucking do somehow, in order to make this shit happen. Like maybe Gabriel's instance might be, hey, I want to be. This is how I view it. I want to be normal in this way. I'm willing to do high levels of transference and fucking what's it called, exposure therapy and all this shit, and like I'm down to get nitty gritty with this. Don't worry about my negative reactions to being approached with emotional context and emotional situations and human connections and like all this stuff that would be god awful for me. Like maybe Gabriel could just tell a psychologist, this all works for me. I need all this, and then they would just have to listen and go, okay, this is highly unconventional for your average schizoid, but fuck it, let's do it. Like you said, you wanted it. Get the lube out. Just
you're paying someone to basically be the trained smart person so that you can just explore yourself. But part of the benefit of them presumably having way more knowledge and experience is that I want them to know when the right time is to push me farther, because I can't ask the right questions. Like I don't have a degree, so I don't know the right way to actually do that, or if I'm self-limiting.
Or they might have some really cool technical terms that they could approach you with that could help you kind of formulate ideas on your own that could help you overcome certain things, right? So yeah,
once you learn the gist of like a lot of therapies are complex, but they have a really common theme through them, and once you learn that, you can even do it on yourself.
Yeah, it's oftentimes not recommended, but who knows? But then again, you often wonder, why is it not being recommended because they just don't want you to take their jobs?
Facts.
You're not an unbiased third party, you can work.
Oh shit, I'm back. Okay, so as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh yeah, because my psych decided to be highly disconnected from me, because that's how what I needed. It inadvertently caused me to connect to them even in a very basic level, because then I felt like they were empathizing with my situation and respecting it and giving my autonomy. And because of that reason, it allowed me to actually appreciate them more as a separate human being. And it's kind of ironic because literally by someone not being aggressive or intrusive with you emotionally or being assertive emotionally in any way, they oddly enough oftentimes creates the environment that allows you to connect to them, which is so fucking weird. It's so goddamn backwards, right? Usually a person has to open up to somebody else for them to feel safe or comfortable enough to go to them and go, oh, well, you're opening up to me, so I can open up to you. So then you opening your doors makes me want to open mine. But it's the opposite with the Zoid. When the other person opens their doors, you're like closing yours, like and bolting and putting on fucking planks and shit, like as their door opens, yours shuts in further and you put more layers. But if it's hilarious if they decide not to open their door and just yell at you from inside the room and not open it, you slowly start peeking out, even if like you didn't mean to. Like you just start kind of peeking out your door and looking at their door and then closing it back in again. And then when you see that they didn't like open theirs because you closed yours back in, you tend to want to open it a little bit further and peek your head out some more. So it's really kind of counterintuitive to how generally I think human beings often work. And then
cats work. Yeah,
we work like cats. And in that sense, we're like cats. And then eventually we're like, we might go up to the other person's door and just do a little knock. All right, we give it a little knock, and then we don't want them to open it right back up. We just want them to knock back, and then it's like, oh, they knocked back. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my room now and close the door again. And then you're like, did they come out? No. Okay, I'm gonna go knock. I'm gonna go knock again. And then eventually, if they ever peek their head out the door, you won't be there in front of the door when they do, but you'll be at your door peeking your head out, and then maybe giving them a little wave, and then they're like, hey. Even if they want to be like, hey, right? If they did that, that's it. You're fucking bolting everything up again. But eventually,
you don't just have autism.
Fuck you. What the fuck? No. I don't. I don't have.
Never like. I have no desire to be like, let's play peekaboo for 30 hours.
Okay, but it's not literal peekaboo, man. Like, it's not literal peekaboo. It's a metaphorical peekaboo, man. And I think most Zoids are like that. It's just a back and forth that happens like quickly. It's subconsciously. It's not like a fucking literal peekaboo. It's more like the less they try to intrude upon you and approach you and be in your life, but still willing to interact with you in ways that you're cool with, the more you actually in turn eventually want to actually slowly become close to them. And that's how I fell in love with my wife, because she's kind of aloof too, right, in her own way. And but her aloofness and her sort of disconnect behavior is totally different from why I was doing it. But nonetheless, it made me grow really close to her, because she never asked me what I was thinking. She never asked me how I was feeling. She never asked me what's bothering me, what's not bothering me. She never asked me this or that. When I would tell her about something that was bugging me, she wouldn't ask me to elaborate further or pry into it or somehow attach it to herself or make it about her or something, right? She didn't do these things for her own individual reasons, whether it's shyness or maybe a little bit of avoidance. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But my point is that behavior is what allowed me to play that peekaboo, and then eventually go like, I want to go in now. I'm comfortable enough. I'm safe enough I'm good enough to where like I want to meet you in there. Like I want to go in, and then they're like, oh, like her reaction was like, oh, you want to come in? Okay, that's cool. I mean, but if you don't want to, whatever. And it's like, no, it's cool. I'd like that. And then they're not like, well, you came to my house, so I get to go to yours now, right? No, it was more like, oh yeah, you can come in, chill. And then them not asking you, oh, can I go to your house now, makes you kind of go, hey, so you wanna come over sometime? I mean, it's cool. Want to watch movies? And then it just kind of like it goes from there, man. And then eventually, yeah, you're just running into their room back and forth because you feel comfortable enough. And that's how I approach it. That's how I saw it, and that's how I fell in love with her, for that very reason. And even if it wasn't intentional, even if it wasn't like a conscious effort on her part, maybe it was just sheer happenstance and luck. But she respected my distance. even if it might have hurt her a little, for sure. Well, not a little, a lot, maybe over the years. But nonetheless, we're tighter than ever because a lot of stuff got understood. So, anyway, there's my inspirational stories. I gotta go. Yeah, cats are aloof, very schizophrenic. Yeah, all cats are Zoids. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Also, usual Patreon, please. I'm gonna e-bag the shit out of you. Just suck your e-dick. Just help me out so I can do this for more often, more streams, longer streams, so on and so forth. Also, PayPal if you want to give direct and donate direct, and Bitcoin if you like doing Bitcoin because you don't like all that centralized shit. So whatever you're comfortable with. I got like 3 choices. I'm cool with all of them, and that way you could actually get on the stream like these guys do, and have convos with me or whatever, make whatever points they want. Any last thoughts, E-Man, Gabriel?
Nope.
Did you guys enjoy yourselves today?
Get outside your comfort zone because you can do it. I believe in you.
That's Gabriel's advice right there. E-Man, any advice? Any thoughts? No, nothing? You're good? No? Okay. All right then, guys. Thanks a lot. It's just so funny. I never get to the only reason I have the R Schizoid up is because, like, if we run out of things to talk about, we can jump into that. But it oftentimes doesn't even get to that point because there's always...
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to threaten us with having to read Reddit, I mean, we're going to keep talking.
That's good. I'm going to threaten you. Hey, you fuckers better come up with something good because we're going to read Reddit posts. Like,
no, please, not the
We're
Reddit.
going to fucking read Reddit posts, and we're going to be gaining all sorts of weight. So...
It makes interesting conversation, or else it gets to Reddit again.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Oh, last on this Halloween, I really like that analogy of relationship with your wife. Kind of how it was when I met my partner at the beginning. There you go. All right, guys. Peace out. And please support. Please. Every time I see a little thing pop up saying somebody else is supporting, it makes me more hopeful that I can keep on going. All right. Peace out.